Good morning. My name is Jim Alatris. I'm Governor Andrew Cuomo's Director of State Operations. This morning, the governor, joined by local officials and state officials, toured the Calgon filtration system for the village water supply. And we just did a briefing with local officials and state officials, as well as other representatives on the status of the Hoosick Falls response. DOH and DEC, among other state officials, continue to be a presence in Hoosick Falls, and we will continue to be a presence for time to come. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Governor Cuomo.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all of you. I want to thank the Senator and the Mayor and the Supervisor for their time. You'll hear from them in a moment this morning. All the DEC personnel, the Department of Health personnel, town personnel, village personnel. This has been an all-hands-on-deck effort, and it really has been extraordinary. This situation with chemicals in the water, I would love to say, is unique, and we don't think this is ever going to happen again. We were chatting inside. Unfortunately, I believe we're going to continue to find situations like this all throughout the state, all throughout the country. This is a product of what we did, in some case, decades ago. We were in the manufacturing economy. We were making things. We were using chemicals. We were using chemicals that were never used before. We allowed waste disposal in fashions that, in retrospect, were not prudent. And now, in many ways, we're paying the price as a society. We're discovering new chemicals that may be problematic, and then science has to do a lot of work to determine what concentration is problematic, et cetera. So the situation in Hoosick Falls is by no means unique. The question is how we handle it and how we resolve it and how we move forward. To me, there were always two threshold moments. One, after you install the filtration devices, do the filtration devices work? I'm on site today to get that answer. The second threshold will be, what do you do long term? And is the permanent filtration system the answer? Is an alternative water source the answer? And that's the second question which we've been discussing today, but we don't yet have the answer. The answer for today was the temporary filter is installed. They have done the testing. The water that comes out of the temporary filter, the Calgon filter, is what they call non-detect for PFOA. So that is very, very good. That means the filter works. The filter on the village system works. We've also installed, for homes that are not on the village system, we have put in basically well-based filtration systems. We have done about half of those requested. About 600 have been requested. We've done close to half of those. We've tested the water that comes out of those filtration systems on the individual wells. That is also non-detect. So the good news for the day is, yes, there's a PFOA issue on some water sources. Filtration has been now completed, and the filtration systems work. That's good news. That means we have to continue the temporary filtration system on the private wells, and we have to move to a permanent filtration system for the village system, which we are already in the process of doing. In the meantime, we came up with a number of other issues that need attention, which we have developed plans for. First of all, we've declared this site a state Superfund site, which gives the state additional power to come in and mandate cleanup, do cleanup ourselves, and then hold the company responsible for the cost of the cleanup. We believe that the users of the water system have obviously been inconvenienced. and people feel that they're paying their bill for the water system, but then they can't use the water system, and that is unfair. I agree, that is unfair. Not only have they had to go through the hardship of going and using bottled water, but then they get a bill for the water system. In many ways, it adds insult to injury. 6 months of their cost of water will be covered by the state, and I believe should be covered by the company. And we are going to put that forth as a claim against the company. So at least for the 6 months that homeowners, water users have had to go through this inconvenience, they're not then burdened with also getting a bill for dealing with the water for that same period of time. There is a well that's called well number 3 that has a favorable rating on the PFOA tests. And village and town officials believe if we could increase the capacity for that well, it would provide a cleaner water source that might even be an alternative long-term water source. But more testing has to be done, and we have to invest in that well, which will cost about $150,000, and the state will cover that cost to do those improvements. There was also a ancillary issue where there were cracks in one of the water storage tanks, which cost the village a significant amount of money to repair, and the state is going to assist in that repair, funding about $95,000 to repair that system. The conversation will then shift to what's the long-term alternative water source, and there DEC and Department of Health are working through and researching a number of options. As I mentioned, there is a well number 3, that we're going to explore to see if that well has the capacity to be a long-term source and what the cleanliness is of that water. They're looking at the Hoosick River water as a possible alternative source. There's an alternative reservoir, which is about 12 miles away, which obviously is a long distance to actually run piping and conduit, but we're looking at that also. One of the issues that was raised was for some people who are homebound, it's difficult to get to the store to pick up bottled water. We've talked to the company, and they will make deliveries of bottled water available for those people who can't reach it. I'll stop there. I think that's a fair summary of where we are today. But again, the good news is the filtration systems work. Now we just have to complete the installation of the filtration systems. Question 2 will be, what is the alternative water source long-term? We'll continue to work on that. I will be back to look at several options once we have more information on the alternative water source. But that's going to be down the road. That is not going to be a short-term determination. In the meantime, in this state, this is a big, complicated state. We have our share of problems and issues. We have floods, we have hurricanes, we have floods, we have weather conditions that we never had before. We have accidents. I was on the Hudson River yesterday, tragic tug accident, hit a barge near the Tappan Zee Bridge. I'll be going back there today. Some of these things are unavoidable. Situations with chemicals in the water, could have been avoided, they weren't, and we're going to see more and more of it. So I don't believe there's any life strategy or government strategy that says make sure you don't have any problems. You will have problems. The question becomes, how do you deal with it? And I just want to congratulate the mayor and the supervisor, who have done an extraordinary job, and their whole teams. This was a big operation. It's a big operation and a lot of coordination, and they have really performed magnificently well. I want to thank Senator Marchione, who has been a great representative for her district and the community. She's been attentive, she's been knowledgeable, and it's made the state services work much, much better. I want to thank the council people who we met with this morning. I want to thank the assemblyman who represents this district, Assemblyman McLaughlin. We all had a good conversation, but most of all, I say congratulations, job well done. Longer road still, more work to do, but we've made great progress, and people should feel good about that. I'll turn it over to the senator now. You'll hear from Senator Marchione, then you'll hear from the supervisor, then the mayor, then whatever questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Cuomo. You know, I have been an elected individual 35 years in my lifetime, and I don't think that I have ever faced such a difficult time for a community as this one has been. People are concerned about themselves, their health, their children, their property values. There's just a gamut of things that are so very important to life, to every single one of us. And today, after listening to the even new requests that come in, I want to thank our governor for what he has been doing here. I do not believe that he could be doing any more to help this area and to help the people who live here. I think the Department of Environmental Conservation and the Department of Health have done an outstanding job in meeting with people who live here, in providing blood tests, and looking at different sources of water, and looking at personal wells. There hasn't been a stone left unturned, and as stones are coming up and they're being unturned, they're being addressed. So I'm grateful to the governor and to the Department of Health and DEC. And you know, as a local official for so many years myself, the mayor and the supervisor in this town have had a very difficult time. It is one of the times that you hope never, ever occur while you're representing your community. Because no matter what happens, people have a concern, and rightly so. They have handled these concerns. I've been in the room throughout these meetings. They have brought forward concerns, and they've been addressed. Without those two men in the room, the governor would not have known exactly what's going on the ground and what's happening here and the sentiment of the people who live here. So, you know, I think this has been a project where everyone coming together, this is government and private citizens and the company. I mean, I don't think we can leave out the company as how it's been working with government and trying to be a good citizen at a very difficult time. I think this is the best that it can be when everyone has come together, has put their heads together, have brought the money to the project that needs to happen to help the community. So I just want to thank everyone who's been involved and thank the governor again for all that he's been doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor?
I want to remind you, yes, we have a situation going on here. By the way, my name is Supervisor Mark Surdam. But I am thankful that it seems like there are people stepping up. This is not a situation, anything that any of us asked for, but here it is. The state has certainly been helpful. I'm appreciative that the governor, Cuomo, came here today. We had a very good conversation, and I certainly felt like I was able to share the concerns that have been shared with me from the people in the town of Hoosick. So I'm very appreciative of that. Jim Malatras, who will be coming up here in a few minutes, him and I had a phone conversation the other day along with the mayor, and it was the same thing. He actually encouraged me to please call him with concerns that I'm hearing so that they're able to deal with them in a quick manner. So I am hearing from the state that they do want to work with us. They are trying to do everything that they can, you know, within the limitations that we have. None of us have ever dealt with a situation like this. So the town of Hoosick, for all the publicity we've been getting lately on negative, is still an outstanding place to live. This is a great community. We're like many other communities throughout New York State. We're a small community, but we're a great community. We are very fortunate and very blessed to be a safe community. You know, we have a small 9-hole golf course right in the center of our village. We have a community pool. ice skating rink, we have tennis courts, basketball courts, ball fields. Kids can still ride their bikes in the village and feel safe. So this is a safe community, it's a great community. We're not closing up shop and going anywhere. This problem will be fixed. And the town of Hoosick, I would welcome anybody to come here. This is a great community, so thank you.
Here, here. Mayor Board?
That's a tough act to follow. Wow. Obviously, I would like to thank the governor for being here today, for seeing everything firsthand, for getting an idea of what we've been going through. He's listened to everything that we've talked about. He has responded. I want to echo the supervisor's remarks that the state has, this has been a coordinated effort. It really has all the way through, and people have worked together. We're trying to do the right thing, and those right things are starting to happen. Our state representatives, our local representatives, everybody's been in this together. I firmly believe that we are at the top of the mountain, and we can see over the top, and we can see that we're going to be able to go forward. A lot of good things are happening here. If any of you happened to be here yesterday for a marvelous parade where people were just ecstatic to get out and to celebrate and talk about what's going on, it was just terrific to see that, and people feel good about it. A lot of things are happening here. The water is getting fixed. It's a very difficult situation. People have gone through very, very hard times. Emotionally, it's very, very tough to deal with, but it is being fixed. The GAC system is working. We were very confident that it would work, and we think that once we get that operational and moving forward, again, the economic development that we've been looking forward to move forward is going to happen. But it would not have happened without the support of the state and our local representatives. So we're in a good place for a lot of reasons. It's not perfect, probably never will be, but it's about as great as it can be. So I'm very confident as we move forward. And again, Governor, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you once again to the mayor and the supervisor and the senator and the assemblyman who are here and the members of the council. One last point before we take questions. Hoosick Falls is not unique in being a municipality that needs to treat their water. Many, many municipalities in New York treat their water. So that is nothing new, right? So yes, there's been a lot of publicity about this current situation and this chemical in this situation. But basically, at the end of the day, we're installing a filtration system. And many, many communities have filtration systems because depending on their water source, whether it's a well, whether it's a river, if you're using the Hudson River, there are filtration systems for those chemicals posed by that particular water source. And we'll address the issue here in Hoosick Falls, and the issue will be addressed. So it's not that this is the first time we've dealt with the situation. It's the first time with this chemical. But as I said before, I believe you're going to see more and more of this going forward. There are 80,000 currently unregulated chemicals, 80,000. And there will be new discoveries where, well, this chemical might do this chemical might do this, and then there'll be a conversation about that chemical, and then that chemical will also be added to the list of chemicals that have to be regulated and filtered. So that context is important.